British Christmas terms that Americans probably have never heard of, or if they have no idea what it means. Mince pies. I literally thought that mince pies are filled with minced meat. They're not. It's kind of a staple for the Christmas season here in the UK, but it's definitely not meat. Just so that you know, it's fruit and spices and sugar. And despite the misleading name, it's more of a dessert. You will be offered one if you go over someone's house for the holidays here in the UK. Refusing it sort of feels rude, but it is an acquired taste. So definitely just be on guard. I know people who enjoy it very, very much. So, and there are different kinds. There's different fruits, different spices, that kind of thing. It's all part of the experience of the holiday here in the UK, but I don't know. For me personally, I just could never get behind it. Boxing Day. I have to admit, when I first heard Boxing Day, I thought it was set up because there is always some kind of like really big boxing match the day after Christmas. I don't know. I don't know anything about boxing. And at that time, I didn't know anything about British Christmas. But Boxing Day, for those of you who don't know, is the day after Christmas, December 26th. And it doesn't have one thing to do with boxing, at least the sport. There's no gloves, there's no punches, there's no fights. It's basically a public holiday where almost everybody is off of work in the UK. Families kind of stay together and hang out. It's almost like a Christmas Part 2, a sequel, if you will. In the United States, doesn't exist. You just go back to reality. Most people go back to work. It's just a normal day. But in the UK, it's about leftovers. It's about cool walks in the morning, going to a pub maybe, football on TV, definitely, obviously, and pretty much doing nothing. It's a nice little segue, I think, into the week in between Christmas and New Year's. In America, it's really not the day of rest that it is here in the UK. So I think they'd probably benefit from starting to incorporate a little bit of Boxing Day into their schedule. Christmas pudding. This is another like I don't know, century old probably tradition here in the UK when it comes to desserts for the season. It is not a dessert as Americans would know it, though. It's not like, super sweet or anything like that. It's actually a really dense cake, sometimes full of fruit. I've even seen people put, like, a rum or brandy in it, and they'll let it sit with that liquor in it for like, a week or so. It'll get all soaked up into the really dense cake. Sometimes it's steamed, and sometimes it's even set on fire. There's this whole, like, ceremony involved with it. It's definitely a tradition, it's part of history. No one's eating it just because they want something light just to finish off their meal. Another one that's personally for me not a huge pleaser in my personal opinion. It's definitely something that's very inherent here in the Christmas season here in the UK. Next one is Father Christmas. Now, I did do a whole video comparing Father Christmas to Santa Claus. I'll leave a link in the description box below. But for those of you who don't know, Father Christmas, I think they said it derives from the pagan green man. British kids grow up typically saying Father Christmas, and that is the equivalent of Santa Claus, only he wears green robes rather than a red suit. Whereas in the United States, we have the traditional Santa Claus, basically made popular by advertisements from Coca-Cola and the Night Before Christmas poem. So same guy, basically giving out gifts and someone that's kind of creepily watching you to see if you're naughty or nice, but a little bit different energy. Father Christmas is just like the UK, a little bit calmer, a little bit quieter, less more like a photo op at the mall and more like a mysterious woodland uncle that kind of just comes out of the woodwork this time of year. He doesn't necessarily bring everything. He just fills stockings, apparently. The next one is Christmas crackers. Genuinely confused me as well with the Boxing Day thing. I thought it was actually a special kind of cracker that only came out or, only put out at Christmas time. A Christmas cracker is not food, though. A Christmas cracker is actually a cardboard tube that you pull on each end with the person next to you at the table. It has a slight pop bang, kind of like those fireworks that you give kids where you like throw them on the ground and have that like snap sound. That's pretty much what it sounds like. There's always a paper crown in it, which I think is a lot of fun. A really terrible dad joke, some kind of tiny plastic game or something like that I can never figure out or I break. It's really, really cheesy and corny, but for me, I love it. I personally consider them absolutely essential now. And if I don't see Christmas crackers either around the tree or on the table when we're eating dinner, the holiday feels a little bit off to me. Number 6 is the King's Speech. Well, in the US, Christmas Day, if you have the television on, it's either Christmas movies or some kinds of sporting event, not soccer/football. But here in the UK, a lot of people will stop what they're doing to watch the King's Speech. It's an annual thing. It's been going on since like 1932, I think. It's a televised speech, pre-recorded, obviously, in which the monarch gives a kind of State of the Union, if that would be, I guess, an equivalent for the US, kind of a state of what the country and the Commonwealth is doing, and just basically always a reminder to be human to each other and to remember those that are in need, that kind of thing. It's really formal, but it's short, it's to the point, it's understated, of course, because it's British, kind of quiet. And even if people don't watch it very closely, and even for those who aren't really royalists, who really don't support the monarch, they always end up knowing about the King's Speech, at least what the basic gist of what they said. Is a punctuation mark on the day, and it's an acknowledgement from the monarch speaking to the people basically about the season and the end of the year and what's to come in the new year. Number 7 is not really a term or anything, but it's just a kind of tradition that never happens in the US as far as I'm aware, but is very, very common tradition amongst families here in the UK. And that is going on a Christmas walk. This one always surprised me, but I guess it comes from the fact that I was raised on you don't really walk anywhere, you drive everywhere. That's what it's like in the United States. But here in the UK, after this huge Christmas meal, a lot of British people will say, "Do you want to go for a walk?" And they actually mean it. You know, everyone gets their coats on, they get all bundled up, they go out in the cold air. It's a very slow walk. It's not like a power walk or anything like that. It's not about fitness in any way. It's about being outside together, kind of just taking in the sights, the smells of other people's dinners, maybe. Perhaps you run into a neighbor on the way. I think it's just a way to kind of walk off that big dinner, but also just be a part of a family unit, make a little bit of a memory, and just do something a little bit different rather than sitting around the house. Because you kind of did that a little bit Christmas Eve. You're definitely going to do that on Boxing Day if you're British. So I think it's just something that brings the family together a little bit and just gets you outside in the fresh air and reminds you, of the gravity of the season and also just the fact that we're human and we're really, really small in the grand scheme of things. So number 8 is Twixmas. I have to confess, first time I ever heard it is this year, but it's really, really strange to me, and I had to put it on the list. So, yes, it is 100% a real term, but no, it has nothing to do with the candy called Twix, which I was a little disappointed at because I do enjoy a good Twix. But Twixmas is really the days in between Christmas or just after Boxing Day to December 26th, all the way up to New Year. It's like a soft, blurry stretch where no one really knows what day it is. A lot of people have off. Kids are definitely off for school. Nothing is really expected of you as far as obligations. And even if you have to work, apparently, you don't really do much in the office. Now, I haven't worked in the office during Twixmas, so I don't know that for sure from personal experience, but that is what I heard. And if it does change, I will definitely be sure to update y'all. Honestly, I just love the word. I think Twixmas is a great expression, and I don't really know where it came from, but I really enjoy it. I just think it's fun. So Twixmas actually comes from the Old English word betwixt, meaning between. So it's basically blending the betwixt with the Christmas, right? So kind of like the Vlogmas thing. It describes the lazy, hazy days between December 26th and New Year's Eve, which is just it's the popular informal term that for this little lull of the holiday season, basically. And I think it just represents the in-between festive events that happen, if any. If not, it's just basically that laziness, I guess, that you get where Christmas is over, so there's no real hustle and bustle left, but you don't have to really do much because your New Year's resolutions haven't started yet, so you're good. Overall, it might be my favorite British word for this season that I've ever heard. There you go. That's my 8 favorite British terms that I've heard about Christmas that I'd never really heard or definitely didn't know what they were when I lived in America. If you're someone who prefers the quieter side of the season, you're definitely not alone. I am with you. Definitely being decades under the American microscope and craziness, I love the UK season of slowing down much more than anything that I experienced in the US, barring, of course, spending time with people that I loved. But if you're hearing these terms for the first time and thinking, wait, that actually sounds kind of nice, yeah, I'm just going to let you know it is. And you should probably try to figure out how you can incorporate it into your hustle and bustle Christmas life in America if you can, because from my personal experience, once you've taken part in some of these and you see what they actually mean and how they force you to be in the moment, Christmas never really feels the same again.